I don't know if you watched the Spurs game. Did you watch the Palace? Spurs?
Yeah. I was bored out of me. Me Barnet, but
it was a bad game, mate.
It was
a bad game. I wasn't convinced. Like Tottenham win the game, right? We weren't great, and I think it was
both teams weren't great.
It was a good time to play Crystal Palace. I think they were a bit low on confidence. They played 8 games in December, and I think they were knackered.
And they lost one of their kind of key defenders in Richards.
Yeah,
he's been instrumental for them.
And I just thought they were miles off at Crystal Palace, miles off it. Mateta looks like all of a sudden he can't hit a barn door when he was brilliant at the start of the season. But look, second half, Spurs were all right. We made some changes. Odegaard come on. I thought he played well. Palhinha come in and gave us a bit of steel in midfield. I'm not convinced with Spurs, though, mate. I'm not convinced. And I know I didn't do the sports bar last night, but there was a lot. Spurs fans are not happy with the way we were playing.
Well, you wouldn't be. You're sitting in 14th place, and
good team.
Good, and like I said, the performances haven't been what they should have been or should be.
I don't know where Spurs should be though, right?
But this is what I've been saying, for the past I don't know how long, and you finished 17th last season. Season before that wasn't great. You had a manager you've lost 22 games out of possible 38. The days of Spurs of Harry Kane on Song are long gone.
Yeah.
They're way behind you now.
Yeah.
So look, every team has ambitions and want to do well and want to be challenging and all this. But when you come down to it, have a hard look. Where are Spurs? Are they where they are? Because they've not shown anything over the past 3 seasons to suggest that they should be top 6 team.
Well, we finished 17th last season, all right? And people will write that season off because we won the Europa League. And we did put our eggs in that basket, especially towards the end of the season. We were completely changing the side in the Premier League. But 17th was nowhere near good enough. Thomas Frank, I don't know if I'm happy about Thomas Frank coming out saying we're a Champions League team, but are we a Champions League team? Well, when you look at the players we've got, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, Spence, international footballer, Vicario, his question marks over him, but he can have decent. Paulinho, I think he's a really good player. Xavi Simons, you spent big money on him. You got Richarlison who plays up front, and say what you want about Richarlison, he's an international football player. Kudus paid £60 million for him. So we're not, maybe we're not a Champions League side, but we should be in the top 7, top 8 minimum.
I would say when you're looking at it like that, I would go 8. I don't think you're a top 4 team at the moment. There's nothing to say that you can't be within season to come with the right investment, the right players. But right now, you're not a Champions League team. You're not a team that should be looking to. Obviously, you want to, but will not get into the Champions League because you're just simply not good enough at the minute. 8th, 7th, 6th, 100% should be there. Should be there or around there.
It feels like it's getting further away though. Do you know, like when I look at the teams who are now, look at Arsenal, I look at Man City, Liverpool spending good money on top.
Villa,
Chelsea.
Newcastle.
Look, Newcastle have been poor as well. But when I look at the top 4 race of teams that can get in there, I feel like Spurs are getting further away.
No, they are.
And really, you got to bridge that gap. You got to find a way because let's be honest, Spurs are normally 4th or 5th, right? That's where we fight it out. Most seasons we're around that 5th spot. Can we nick it in there? At the moment, I'm looking at it going, we're nowhere near that.
No. And I think this question's being asked for, like, when is the last time that Spurs have made a huge marquee signing?
Well, Xavi Simons was made.
I know, but if you're planning your future on
got him
Xavi
because
Simons,
we didn't get Eze.
Yeah, if you're planning your future moving forward around Xavi Simons, then I think that answers the question. And over the years, they haven't really done that. They've got gems who have turned into absolute world-class players like Son. No one heard of him, and all of a sudden, he's probably one of the better players to grace the Premier League. I think they need to start making a statement now, Spurs. If they want to start catching the big boys, they've got to start going out there and getting the big and better players. Like, look, I know Liverpool got Isak, but, Ekitike. Just throw your hand in it.
I know, but the problem you've got though, Jammer, and I agree with you, and it's easier said than done, right? You say Ekitike, well, you went to Liverpool, right? Do you know what I mean? if he has the option, Ekitike, there's only one place he's going. Do you know, Eze? You're going for Eze. You should get that deal done. Arsenal come in, he goes to Arsenal. You know, Semenyo. Spurs are interested in Semenyo. You go, you know what? We want Semenyo. We'll go after him. Good signing. Goes to Man City. The problem Spurs have got is that where we're shopping is top 5, right? The players that you want we want top 5 players. But the problem we've got is the other top 5 teams are better suited for these players right now because they're looking at Spurs going, do I want to go there? Is it the right move for me? Do you know, they can, you know, you have a stinker of a season, the manager might get sacked. Thomas Frank, is he a top-class manager? And I think that's the problem Spurs have got. Now, I don't know how you change that, whether you pay over the odds in contract for a player. If Liverpool are offering a player 150 grand, you offer him 200 grand. You know, I think that's the only way you can get yourselves with them players is to outbid the other teams. Listen,
the Spurs have potential. They have massive potential, but for some reason, they're very stagnant on getting top quality players in. I genuinely cannot remember the last time I've got, what a signing. What a signing.
I think Kudus has been a good player.
Okay. So. He's not lit it up. He's not lit the...
he's been our best player.
He's been your best player, but that says a lot where we're and I'm like, he's okay.
I ain't and he's been our best player.
I'm not saying he's
quality.
I'm not saying he's not quality or he's not being your best player, but he hasn't lit it up, really. What has he got? 4 assists?
He's got some goals. He's got some assists, but I think he's been our best performer. I'm going to speak to GJ. He's a Spurs fan. GJ.
How you doing, boys? You all right?
I'm all right, GJ. What do you make of Tottenham right now?
Yeah, Merry Christmas, boys. Hope you had a
Merry
good
Christmas.
one. So, first of all, it was a big win yesterday. Massive confidence booster. As you said, it's not great on the eye. We're not great to watch. It's very workmanlike.
Brutal.
The irony is we got the best away record in the league.
Yeah.
Jammer, you said we're 14th in the league. We're actually 11th.
Oh, off that win. Yeah, back of that win, you got 11th.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nothing really to shout about there, mate. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely not. Right, fair point. I mean, I said at the beginning of the season we'd finish between 8th and 10th. And that's where I think we should be after finishing 17th last season. I think we will finish around there.
Yeah.
But you know what, your point, Jamie, where you're saying like how are we going to bridge that gap? It all comes down to wages, doesn't it? Because if you're not going to be paying competitive wages for the best players, then you're not going to get the best players, and therefore you're not going to get the best team. When was the last time Spurs bought a genuine world-class player?
Well, Van de Ven is probably that player.
I know, but was he world class before?
No, he's becoming world class.
Yeah, but that's that's the argument is they've not gone out and already bought a ready world class player.
Yeah, I know, but all right. Well, when was the last time Spurs ever done that? When was Spurs ever bought a world class?
Ginola.
Yes, I was actually going to say Ginola.
We can turn players. We can get potential world class players. Like Gareth Bale, Modric, but they weren't when they turned up at Spurs. Like Gaza, you'd probably say, yeah, but we're going back. Harry Kane come through the youth system. Son was a really good player, but he become a Premier League legend. But when was the last time Spurs went and actually signed a world-class football player? I mean, talking about Ginola.
But there needs to be a paradigm shift because, like at the club, I would like to see a plot of the prices that we pay as season ticket holders compared to the wages we pay our players. Because if you did a plot of that in the Premier League, I think Spurs would be a massive outlier where we're paying top dollar for what are we actually paying the players? What quality of players are we actually getting and watching at White Hart Lane,
I think the people now in charge, I think maybe they're going to try and
they're going to have to.
But as I said, it's all right. You can offer Semenyo 200 grand a week, but he's still going to sign for Man City.
But you can't talk about it tomorrow because you rent your stadium out to concerts, to NFL, to F1 little tracks. So you've definitely got the money there.
And the money's there, of course.
The money's there. So as a club like that, you should be going, do you know what? We've got X amount of money. right, let's go and get this player. Let's go and offer him this, and then seal the deal.
But the other thing is Thomas Frank. I mean, okay. Like you said, you can offer him the top money, but they'll be looking at the actual project of the incumbent so far, like Thomas Frank, and be thinking, do I want to play for him? Has he actually managed a top team?
Yeah.
Do I want to play that brand of football? Because I'm not saying sack him. He wasn't my choice. My choice was actually Iriola, and he was looking great about 6 weeks ago, and
not looking so good.
And now I'm thinking, what the hell's going on to my man? But I'm not saying sack Frank, but he does, he needs to do better, but he does deserve a bit of time, maybe a couple of transfer windows to see what he can do and get more of the players he wants in.
I'm not convinced with his style of play, though, I have to say. I like him. I think he talks well. He's honest. I think he's a good manager. Am I convinced that the players are really like, this guy is mustard? I don't know. I'm not convinced that the players see him as like, a Conte or a Mourinho. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm worried about with Thomas Frank. And that's what I worry about when players look at Tottenham as a signing. I think they look at it and go, don't know. I don't know.
The manager we should have backed was Antonio Conte. He was. I'm a Mourinho man.
He wanted out, mate. Conte wanted out. He wanted to go.
I think he only wanted out after he realised that he was promised that he was going to be allowed to spend money, and then he ended up getting Perisic on loan, and he's thinking, come on. Yeah. That's my take on it anyway. But he was the man to back.
All right, JJ, listen, mate. Thanks for your call.